have weeds, we take it out, we pull it up, and we throw it, because weeds usually they have poison inside. And the story is from the Matthew chapter 13, verse 24 to 30, the parable of the wheat and the weeds. But before we go, we're going to talk about a few things. Number one is the problem with the theodicies. It's called theodicies. This is a theological term. Theodicy means the problems with the evil. For example, we all know good people and bad people exist in this world. Good things and bad things happen to us. Some people are evil. Definitely some people are evil. Some people like to harm other people. They like to, they enjoy harming other people. Sometimes you think, oh, who likes harming other people? But the truth is, if you can see it in the news all the time, some people do harm others. Some people, for example, murder, robbery, rape, stealing, being a con artist or something like that. Is always harming other people, making other people sad, and instilling illness. And that's the truth that we find in this world. So we question the problem of theodicy is, if you believe that God is, the term for this is omnibenevolent, which means if God is all good, if we call God a good God, a God who does the good things to us, why does God, and if God is all powerful, why does God allow evil to exist in this world? Why doesn't God just get rid of the evil? And the question will be solved. This question that we have, why, and hopefully the answer is going to come out through this reading today, and we have to think about this. So many people do not believe in God. Why? Because they say, if God is good, why people hurt each other? If God is good, why does He allow some people to murder others, rape others, robbery, things that hurt others? Why does He allow evilness and evil people to exist in this world? Why doesn't God just get rid of all of them? It's a very simple question, right? It's a very simple thing. So that's the problem with, we call it a theological term, theodicy. Is concerns about the evil thing that happens in this world. You see things like this. This is people that are innocent people, good people. In some parts of this world, they are going. They have a famine. They're going through hunger, and we question those things. Why does God allow that kind of stuff to happen? Why are millions of people, sick people with so many diseases? For example, Africa has a big problem with AIDS. Some of them is not caused by their own act. They're just born like that. When their parents had AIDS, they're born with that AIDS already, even since they're infant, they're born. So why does God allow that kind of stuff? what did the child do to deserve that? And I think those are questions that we like to think and hopefully try to find an answer. But Jesus provides an answer, one of these problems of evil, through this story of the parables of the wheat and the weeds. Jesus is really trying to say there will be an end of all the evilness. And that's why it says, why evil exists now, but won't forever. That means today we find things that are evil, people that are evil, things that are not good happening in this world. But one day everything is going to end. And when it ends, the good will prevail. The good will have the victory, not the evil. And that's the message that Jesus wants to give us through this story of the wheat and the weeds. So we're going to talk about the problem of the theodicy. Second thing that comes in our reading is rubbish party. Does anyone know what rubbish is? Rubbish is waste. Rubbish is something that can be discarded. Rubbish is so they have a party in England, actually in Scotland. One person just found this party, political party called Rubbish Party. And they're very popular. You know why? Because the things that they're talking about concerns with the issues of the waste, issues of the environment and things like that. And a lot of people are, and because they're so concerned about those things, I think that people really have attraction for this party because they are really pro-environment type of movement. Another thing that comes in the reading is Puritans. Puritans are the late 16th century, the early 17th century movement. The Puritanism is a movement, and the Puritans are those Christians that are very pious. They wanted a reformation of the church, but in a more radical way. They didn't want, and they're very concerned with the moral of the religion, and they kept. They're very, as the name indicates, they want a pure mind, a pure soul, and they want to conserve the pureness. So the Puritans, they believe they wanted a little bit more religion to be more completed, as they were trying to bring more of a moral religion. So they have this mind of what is clean and pure. There are 5 people that comes in this reading, and some of them you may know, some of them you may not know. I'm sure that not many people would know Miroslav Volf. He's a famous person, but only in the circle of theologians and pastors. Anyway, Max Lucado first is a famous American author. He's a contemporary. He's still writing and still having so many best-selling books. He's a pastor in San Antonio, Texas, and also he wrote lots of books, and he's being very influential in today's Christianity. Miroslav Volf, he's a theologian. He was born in Croatia, and he knows the problems, the issues in Croatia. but he also is he's a Yale theologian. He teaches at Yale Divinity School. Very well-known systematic theologian. Probably everybody knows Augustine. Augustine is Augustine of Hippo. He is the 4th century Christian leader. And he didn't have a good past. He became a Christian leader, and later on people called him Saint Augustine. And that's why you may find a lot of schools, a lot of school churches, even churches, and a lot of different institutes named after Saint Augustine. So he was very well known. He also wrote a very famous book called The City of God, and his influence is tremendous in Western religion, Western Christianity. But he was also known as someone who didn't have a good past, and we're going to see that in our reading. Rabbi Zacharias is a very, very well-known writer. He's especially strong in apologetics, which is like a defending Christianity. He is Indian-born, Canadian-American writer. He wrote a lot of books, and he's one of very influential in today's Christianity also. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, I don't know how to pronounce it. Solzhenitsyn, he's a well-known Russian writer. It's about 100 years ago, a little less than that. He was a critic of the Soviet Union and also the communism system. So he was very vocal about being against communism. So these are the people who are going to come out in our readings today, as we do start our reading soon. And the big thing today is really the theodicy, the problem of the theodicy. Why does evil exist today? And why does evil things happen to us today? Why does bad things happen to good people? And that's the question that we would like to think about it today, and also to try to find answers for that. So let's start reading today. The reading, page 99. Why evil exists now, but won't forever. The story of the wheat and the weeds. Poor God, how often He is blamed for all the suffering in the world. It's like praising Satan for allowing all the good that happens. So this is another kind of ironical thing that this person is trying to say. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. This is why right temporarily defeated is stronger than evil triumphant. Okay, if you do, let both grow together until the harvest. Then I'll tell the harvesters to sow out the weeds, tie them into bundles, and burn them, and put the wheat in the barn. So this is the story of Matthew chapter 13, verse 24 to 30. So this is the story. A farmer went to plant the wheats and grain, right? The wheat. And it was growing. But the problem is that during the nighttime, someone came and planted the weeds also. So someone came and they put the bad things among the good things, right? And they both grew. So they are asking, should we go and just cut the weeds, cut them out and throw them away? The farmer said, no, let them grow. Why? We're going to see why. Because, number one, because if we do that, we might cut the good things too. We might damage the good things. Sometimes we try to get rid of the bad things. We end up damaging the good things. Sometimes trying to do the right thing, but get rid of the bad things, and sometimes the good things get hurt. And he says here, let's just wait. I think the question here, the time is important. Let's just wait. And one day, everything is going to be grown, and we cut them off. And then we put in one side the wheat, and we put the weeds on the other side. We put them apart and throw away the weeds. This is basically the story. Do you understand Jesus' story? If not, don't feel bad, because neither did his closest followers. They walked by fields of wheat every day, and they still had to ask him what the story meant. Here is Jesus' explanation. Leaving the crowds outside, Jesus went into the house. His disciples said, "Please explain to us the story of the weeds in the field." Jesus replied, "The Son of Man is a farmer who plants the good seed. The field is the world, and the good seed represents the people of kingdom." So Jesus is explaining the parable, right? The weeds are the people who belong to the evil one. The enemy who planted the weeds among the wheat is the devil, and the harvest is the end of the world, and the harvesters are the angels. So the question here today, do evil people exist? Do they exist? Yes, they do exist. And they are children of the devil, as the Bible tells us that they are children of the devil. This is for sure that these people want harm. They don't want the good things to happen. They want the bad things to happen. They try the bad things. They try to do things that hurt other people. They try to. So the evil exists, and the Satan exists, and evil exists, and the evil is sometimes in the midst of the good, right? Just as the weeds are sorted out and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of the world. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will come remove from his kingdom everything that causes sin and all who do evil. So what Jesus is saying, one day, not now, one day the judgment is going to come. Now one day everything will be sorted out. So the good things will be among the good things, and the evil ones are gonna be among the evil ones, and they are gonna be thrown and be punished. And the angels will throw them into the fury furnace, where so they're talking about the hell, right? Will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So this expression that comes often in the Bible is the expression of the hell, that they will be thrown into hell, right? Does anyone believe there is no hell? Do you believe that there is a hell? If you believe, you're believing what Jesus is trying to say to us. That there will be a place like that for punishment, for people who do things that are not so good. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the Father's kingdom. Anyone with ears to hear should listen and understand. So Jesus is trying to say, so the righteous, the people who do the righteous things, will shine like a sun in the Father's kingdom. That they will be rewarded. They will be set apart. They will be known to everybody for the righteous. So how did we get here? This story helps make some sense of the problem of evil and its existence in a world created by an all-powerful good God. So they're saying that, once again, that God, who is good, created all this. Even with the problem with the evil, right? The farmer's plan was good seed in the good field. So the purpose, the intention was good. When God created the world, that his intention was not to do something that is evil. When God created the world, God's intention was to do good so that the world will be good, so that we may be good to one another. That's the original plan of God. It alludes back to the Genesis, where God saw all that he originally created and that it was very good. It was an enemy who destroyed the farmers with land. So what happened is, God's intention was to do good, but the enemy, the evil one, came to do bad things. So we cannot blame God for the evil. For the evil happens because the evil one exists, and that is the enemy of God. Jesus' words here of everything that causes sin and all who do evil do not refer to people who drive 58 in a 55 miles per hour zone. So we're not talking about people that breaks the law just slightly, like you're supposed to drive 55 miles per hour, but you're going to 58 miles per hour. You're still doing something wrong. You're still doing something that you're not supposed to do. But I think everybody drives like that, right? I certainly drive more than the speed limit. Everybody does that. So God is not talking about those little things. God is talking about those people who do really bad things, right? It says in the story, it's clear that there is an enemy of God. Some people choose to live lives of such a consistent evil that they are known as the children of the devil. So we are talking about some people that really does bad things, right? These are literally Satan's seeds. These people not only sin, but cause others to sin. So these are people that they do something wrong, they do something that is not good, but they also make other people to do bad things, right? This happens all the time. When some people want to do good things and they want to do the right thing, but these people are trying to tempt this person, say, hey, you should be bad, you should do this, but cause other people to sin, right? It's a person at work spreading lies about. These people are not only sin, but cause others to sin, right? It's a person who turned your now addicted son onto drugs. For example, the drug dealer that wants to make your son get into drugs and be addicted to it. These are the bad people, right? There's a person at work spreading lies about you because he or she doesn't like you and wants your job. So this happens all the time, right? In a workplace, someone say, hey, say something that is not truth, make the bad reputation, and because they don't like you. And so this happens all the time. It happens all the time in the church. It happens all the time to pastors. So I know it. They lie because they don't like you. They want to make you look bad. And this is the people that cause pain, right? It's the person who has been hitting on your spouse. You know what the hitting is, right? Tempting your spouse. For example, your wife, your husband, the person who comes and try to have an affair and make them. So these are people that is doing evil to the family, right? So these are the people. Those people exist all the time, right? It is the guy who buys a traffic girl for a night of his pleasure at her pain. So this happens also all the time. Young girls that are human trafficking, like the young girls that are sold for prostitution, and they are, some people, they just go and for the pleasure, for their carnal pleasure, they do sex with these little kids. They are like slaves, human trafficking. So these are the people that are really evil, right? We're talking about people whose lives are all about doing whatever they want and not caring if it hurts other people. So we're talking about people that they don't care about anything else, they just want to have pleasure in this world. And they hurt other people really bad, even though they hurt other people, they don't really care. So these are people that are evil, right? Why will Jesus remove them? Because Jesus hates the suffering they created in others. So like we're talking about, why would Jesus say that at the end, those people are going to be thrown into hell? Those people are going to be in hell, and good people will remain in the kingdom of God. So Jesus is really saying that. Jesus is really saying that there is a punishment for those people who do evil. And there is a reward for those people who do righteous things. Those people who do things that are right? God is going to put an end to it. So one day, God is going to put an end. They will either change or to be removed. The world is a mess now, but it won't be forever. So the bad things that happen in this world right now, it won't be forever. Jesus wants justice to be done and people to be protected and live in joy. In the story, he says, the righteous will shine like the sun in the Father's kingdom. God's plan for all good world has been temporarily delayed, but not ultimately defeated. But let's not sugarcoat this. Not everyone will be included. There will be a fiery furnace and a gnashing of teeth. So the author is trying to say that in one day, everything is going to be put on end. Because God's plan to create the world was not like this, was not the evil one. God's plan to create the world was not to have the evil people run around and freely and do things that are evil to other people and hurt the innocent and good people. So this world will end one day, but it's being delayed. For some reason, God is not doing it right now. It's going to be delayed. And there is a reason why God is delaying all this. And he explains in the paragraph today. So while we wait, my question is right now, can you be patient? Can we be patient? I think this is the question. So there will be an end, there will be a judgment, there will be people are not going to be included on this kingdom of God, God's plan. And some people will be in hell for the punishment of their sins. Now, justice requires judgment. So we're talking about justice, right? It always requires a judgment. Many people are not conscious of the fact that Jesus' teaching included such confrontational ideas. So Jesus really talks about those things, and people don't like that kind of ideas. Why? Because people are evil. They do bad things, right? So they don't like the idea of bad people going to hell. They don't like the idea that if you do something wrong, there will be consequences for the things that we do wrong. I don't know about you, but my childhood, my parents always taught me, if you do something wrong, there is a consequences for that. If you do something right, there is a consequences for that. If you do study hard, you'll be rewarded in such a way. If you do work hard, you'll be rewarded in such a way. But if you do bad things, you will also be punished for the things that you do bad. If you lie one day, someone's gonna lie to you and be hurt. Isn't that true? I think it's so true. And we teach our children like that because we want them to be good, and we want them to be rewarded. We want them to have a good life, a life full of joy, none of sorrow. Okay. For those aware of it, in page 103, Raised in a Western culture, we have been schooled to be troubled by this point of Jesus' word. My non-believing friend said to me, I like this Jesus guy, but can't I have all the love one another stuff without those words about fury, furnaces, and gnashing of teeth? So we want to talk about love, but we don't want to talk about punishment, right? I think it's true, everybody. As a pastor of a church, when people come in, can you just preach about the good stuff? Love one another, be peaceful, that everything's going to be work fine. Yeah, those things exist. Those things we should talk about. But can I leave out the other half, which is if you do something wrong, you'll be punished. I think you can't have it just one way, just half of it. You have to have the whole package, right? When we talk about love and peace and good things, you also have to talk about there is a punishment if you do wrong. If God is loving, then He must desire justice, which requires judgment, as author and preacher Max Lucado observed in our culture. So Max Lucado is this American pastor who's a pastor in San Antonio, Texas. He's a very well-known author of many best-selling books. So he says here, we disdain judgment, but we value justice. Yet the second is impossible without the first. One can't have justice without judgment. So we talk about justice, we talk about it all the time, that we need to do justice, but we do not want to hear about judgment. But justice cannot exist without judgment, right? Still, others familiar with the violent images of this parable may wonder, isn't asking people to believe in teaching like this just going to cause them to be more violent? You think so, but it's just the opposite in real life. Miroslav Volf is a Yale professor who is from Croatia. So I just explained about the Miroslav Volf, right? He's a theologian. When I went to seminary, Yale Seminary was a very well-known seminary. I actually considered going there, but I decided I'm going to Princeton, right? But this Miroslav Volf, he's a very well-known systematic theologian, and he says here, people would, let's hear what Volf is trying to say. People will come and literally kill your children and burn down your house. Volf argues that if you do not believe in a God who punishes evildoers, then when someone comes into your house, kills your children, and burns down your house, what are you going to do? You will do that and more to those who did that to you, right? So if they come to your house, they kill your children, they burn your house, what are you going to do? Are you going to be just sitting there and just watch it? Or are you going to be, I think it's very true that we're going to try to do the same thing, right? We killed the other guy who killed your children, right? I think that's a normal reaction, right? But if you believe in God, maybe not, right? But let's say that you do believe there is a God who will punish and remove the evil. But let's say that God is God who does punish the evil, right? Then you have to take matters into your own hands. The need for such a belief to restrain revenge sounds severe. If you've never lived in a place of extreme violence against you, Wolf writes, the only means of preventing all recourse to violence by ourselves is to insist that violence is legitimate only when it comes from God. It takes the quiet of a suburban home for the birth of the thesis that human nonviolence corresponds to God's refusal to judge. In a scorched land soaked in the blood of innocent, it will invariably die. And as one watches it die, one will do well to reflect about many other pleasant captivities of the liberal mind. If God were not angry, at injustice and deception, and did not make the final end to violence, God would not be worthy of our worship. So what is Wolf is trying to say? If you're God, just let it happen, things like that. If you believe in a God that let the evil exist and let the evil people to kill other people and they go unpunished, we cannot worship that God. We cannot believe in that God. We only believe in God because we believe that God is God of justice, that God punishes the evil one, that God punishes for the things that we do wrong. And that's why we worship our God. We believe that God is a God of justice. We don't believe in God that let the evil ones just go unpunished, that let the evil ones just do bad things and go free on this, right? Well, we believe in God because we believe God is a God of justice. And God of justice must have judgment. God must judge us one day. Maybe not now, but one day. Maybe that's why we don't have to go on our hands and kill those people who do bad things and punish them. We don't punish them like God punished them, because we know that God one day will punish them. And this is what we believe. This is a true belief that God exists. If you truly believe that God, this God that you believe that is God of justice, then you will not revenge in a way that is another evil. You know, evil people kill other people, right? You're not going to kill them because you're doing the same thing. You're doing the evil thing, right? You let God punish them. Okay, divine retribution is not just practical doctrine that restrains revenge in our down-to-earth world. It is also what this parable of Jesus teaches. Which one do you pull up? Okay, we want to get rid of dangerous and evil people now. The sooner the better, right? I think I kind of agree with that. But our natural instinct is to think, God, why don't you just get rid of them now? This is a question that we all ask. Or if not, let us. If you're not getting rid of those people, we will do that. Okay, we will do the punishment for them. We will just judge them, right? So this is our own inclination. Here's why God doesn't want that. If you try to tear out the weeds, you tear out the wheat. See Matthew chapter 13:29. What does Jesus mean by this? So if you do try to do the right thing by removing the bad things, you will end up removing the good things. You will end up doing harm to the good people. This is why you don't do it. When we think of weed, we might think of a dandelion or other common weed. We're in page 105, right? Top, right? Other common weed. Dandelion is a flower, right? It's a beautiful flower. We're not talking about that kind of weed, okay? We're talking about the weed that Jesus talked is a different weed, okay? The word Jesus used, often translated weed, is a specific type of ryegrass called darnel, which has poisonous seeds. So what Jesus is telling is not just weeds as like a dandelion flowers. We're not talking about a beautiful thing that does not, it's wheat, but doesn't cause as much pain and harm. But we're talking about a really bad weed, a weed that has poison inside, right? And if you eat this stuff, either you get sick and you can even die, right? So, at harvest, if you process it with good wheat, the resulting flour would be ruined. If you fed it to your family, they will get sick. So the poisonous wheat must be removed. So this is a poison, right? Wheat that has poison. It's gonna harm you. It's gonna harm your family, and it's gonna make you sick, right? So you need to get rid of them, right? Here's the problem.